Hello and welcome to Vibra Finance. My name is Lindsay. Tonight I am joined by the lovely Serena Alonzi and Identity Block. Tonight's topic, crypto taxes 101, and we are really excited to go down this rabbit hole. But before we do, a little hello from Vibra Finance.
At Vibra Finance, we seek out the hidden gems in cryptocurrency. We will tailor your portfolio to work for you. Are you ready to transition your investments from traditional markets to cryptocurrency? Are your coins staked and earning interest? Are you to work for you? Are you ready to transition your investments from traditional markets to cryptocurrency? Are your coins staked and earning interest? Are you to work for you? Are you ready to transition your investments from traditional markets to cryptocurrency? Are your coins staked?
Oh, you're muted.
Are you guys hearing me at all? Because all I can hear is the commercial being so wrecked.
I can hear you now. Yeah, you were muted for a second, so.
All right, sorry about that. Are you guys hearing me at all? Because all I can hear is I'm so sorry. I'm getting the worst feedback.
Oh, you might have YouTube on then.
For a second, so.
All right, sorry about that. My bad. Sorry about that. The casualties of sharing computers. All right, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so we are very excited. It is Crypto Taxes 101 time. We have Identity Block here with us. He is the tax man. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please? What do you do?
Of course. So first of all, thank you so much, Serena and you, Lindsay, for having me over. I've been in Hex since pretty much since Serena, since they announced Bitcoin Hex summer of 18. Before that, I used to follow Richard. I used to watch some of his videos. So I started watching him probably like May of 2017. When he went to an episode of Bitcoin Uncensored with Chris DeRose. So back then, I started following RH, started getting into the whole personal development. I was doing the whole crypto situation, not that well, but I was trying. And then always just seeking to learn, seeking the right people that were talking in the crypto community, the people that weren't shilling or the people that weren't, didn't have maybe some sort of bad reputation. And then little by little, I've been doing the whole crypto thing. I've been, working in taxes, crypto taxes. I registered my business Identity Block in 2013. So December 2013, this December will be 10 years now. And at first, I was just trying to help victims of identity theft, how to restore their identities. I figured that a lot of places were doing this, but they were charging extreme amounts of money. They were sometimes people were paying lawyers, but then it was like the assistant of the someone doing the actual work. So you thought you were paying for the top of the top doing the investigations and all the claims and all the disputes, and then you would figure out, oh wait, I can do all this stuff for free for myself. So then little by little I started showing people how to do that. Like I said, I've been now in crypto taxes probably since this started in 2014. So they started applying the property to crypto and to Bitcoin. Not that we agreed, but that's what they did. They were always supposedly going to change it into currency, or they were going to, but it never has. They've continued to make updates in 2017, 2019, and then 2021, and then so that's pretty much what I've been doing. Just a little bit of crypto, a little bit of crypto taxes, and then now this year I'm focusing more on teaching people how to create like their own business around crypto taxes. So that way they can do their own forensics, they learn the forms, they learn the basics, and then they can save a lot of money.
Joe wants to know if you mentioned being the most informative and patient mod on the Telegram Pulse voice chat.
No, I did not. We used to try it. We used to, some of the guys, they were spending 12, 14, 15 hours. Most of us, we would just go to work and then we'd still be in the chat. I used to have a customer service job at that moment. And then I would be like answering calls and answering the chat. So I had to mute myself. Sometimes I would leave myself unmuted and then I would be like, yes, thank you for calling. And then everyone would be like, what? And then I'll be like, no, sorry, I'm talking to my client. So I mean, we tried just anything to pump our bags, I guess.
So you're the man to go to for crypto taxes. So where do we start? 101.
Well, the first thing, in my opinion, is to learn the terms. It's what I think. It's the most basic. That way, when it comes to crypto taxes, a lot of repetition. So if you're looking for information at irs.gov, or if you're looking for information in any of the top crypto tax calculators like Coinly, CoinLedger, SunLedger, BitTax, TaxBit, um, it's all about knowing what you're seeing, because I've noticed that the softwares are getting more and more they're getting easier to manage, but then it's the same. If you don't know what you're looking at, then you could get confused. So I think that probably learn some of the basic terms.
What
Uh,
is the most
yes.
important term for them to learn?
Oh, great question. Probably cost basis, capital gains, taxes on income, the tax bracket. That way you know what bracket you land. Yeah, I think at least those. Cost basis is very important. Fair market value, because that way you know where to start, where to look for it, how you spent it, and then or where you find it. CSV files. Obviously, that's not related to directly to tax, but that's the information that you would download. They call it comma separated value file, and it's just the way it's just tons of numbers and letters in a file. That's what the brokers are going to start giving you now. So they'll give you a 1099B. That's going to be the same information that they give to the IRS, uh, and then they're going to be giving you the option to have that information as a CSV file, because a lot of the places, what they're doing now is they let you hook up directly to the API. Um, Me personally, I'm suggesting not to do that, because that way you control the data that you provide to the exchange. We know that anything that's mine, if they're mining your data, eventually they're going to sell it. Something's going to happen. So that way, if you do it through the CSV file, you decide what data you're giving them, because it's you download and that way CoinLedger, Coinly, SunLedger, they're not hooked up to your
Yeah,
to your
absolutely.
wallet.
When you were saying knowing the terms, cost basis, and that is really important too when you are creating to know those terms and know what you're looking at when you're putting together your CSV file, because you can make sure, like, those exchanges, yes, they are making it super user friendly, right? It looks like it's an awesome user face. Oh, great! Like, bing, bing, boom. I could just plug into here, and then it takes it over to TurboTax. Well, what's happening, and people may not be aware of this, but I'm sure you're coming across this too, is that some of those boxes where the cost basis is being entered by the exchange, they're not entering it. They're
No,
leaving it blank. So what does that mean?
they
Can
won't.
you please
Yeah,
explain?
great. Great question. I've been saying that this is one of the main reasons that law that they approved in November 15th of 2021 has, and it's going to have so many issues, because they've passed a law that says, all right, we're going to be able to do this, that, the other. The problem is that there's not going to be enough. There's just not going. They're not going to be able to do that. It's in DeFi. They're not going to be able to complete accurate 1099Bs. So as of right now, that's what they do. They give you an incomplete 1099B. Uh, you have to complete that information, and yeah, it's that simple. They give you an incomplete form, and then it's up to you to complete it. It's almost like if you're your own business doing crypto, and then it's up to you to find the fair market value, cost basis, what day you received it, what day you took Dominion. Uh, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, but that's why it's so important to make sure that you're tracking your information so that when you're not reliant on a third party to do those services for you, because they're not going to do you a service. They're going to do themselves a service. And when they're leaving those boxes blank, it's important to check them, because your cost basis is going to be different when they put on it. We earlier in the green room just had a conversation. Can you explain like why they would want to make sure that they're actually inputting their own cost basis, not what the tax would give them?
Well, I mean, it depending on like what jurisdiction, because I had a conversation with Joe. He's out right now in the chat, and in his case, they let him use a different amount in that day, so that is going to change his cost basis. You know, if at one point he can claim it at $5 and sell it at 4, then he can claim that dollar loss. Uh, so most of the, for example, airdrops in the states, they tell you, all right, well, the cost base is going to be 0, and then if you sell it at $1, then you pay taxes on the dollar that you made. But it's mostly for accuracy. Like some of us, I mean, me specifically, I like to do something that's called specific ID. Some of the exchanges don't even offer it yet. It's just they're doing HIFO, LIFO, FIFO, which is highest in, first out. That one's most of the one that most people are using, because it means that the system can go and track what was the highest amount that you paid, and then it charges you the lowest amount that you got, and then it that way it kind of reduces your liability. uh some people like specific ID because that way you can decide, all right, well, I bought this one at $5 and I sold it at 10, and I want to make sure that that's the one that I'm gonna pay taxes on the $5 that I made on that specific transaction. So it's a little bit more work, but the softwares are out there. I used to work for a company called BitTax, out of Israel, and they're working on that right now. We used to do presentations and workshops for the Spanish tax authority, the Peruvian tax authority was called SUNAT, and then the IRS. So they're very informed, and then that's what they're trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent that issue where the exchanges are giving you incomplete information because their crypto tax calculator is so accurate that you can tell, all right, well, I want to do HIFO, LIFO, or I want to do specific ID. And specific ID is, I mean, it's some people like it because it gives you more detail. And but yeah, that's, I guess that's the reason for cost basis. You want to make sure that you have the most accurate return, and that way nobody can dispute what's in there.
Right. They could say, well, you received that at 10 cents when if that box is blank and that hit at 10 cents that day, you're paying 10 cents, even if you received it at, 20. And so you could count that as a loss. But if you're not actually being accountable and tracking that yourself, okay, this is very important to know. What is not on paper, you can't prove. Right. So
Very well said.
and if you don't have that in front of you, then they can say, well, you don't. And then what are you doing? You're playing catch up, you're panic, you're sweating. You're like, no, I know I took a loss on that. Wait, let me shuffle through my whole life because I don't know about you, but that is a lot of documentation.
It is.
Yeah.
Great
So
point.
would you say it's also important for people to be aware of what the taxable and non-taxable events are, just in case as well? I mean, because the software does it for you, right? But people should still be aware of that.
They should have a basic understanding,
Mm.
at least, knowing that if they're swapping between their own wallets, that's not a taxable event compared to, swapping for new crypto, comparing to, so yeah, it's a good idea. That way they can complete or keep that track, like, which a lot of people, like Lindsay said, they just don't, because a lot of people just don't have it where the perfect way, I guess, would be, all right, I brought in $100 from my bank. I sent it to Coinbase. Coinbase gave me 98.50 worth of Ethereum, and then I sent it to DeFi. And then that way you have it in a matter that when you go back, you just, oh, this is perfect.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to try to find one that I can blow up for you guys and bring it up.
Okay.
But that is
This
what
is
it is.
awesome. There you go.
I'll share it with you guys here. But I'm sorry. Keep going.
So yeah, something exactly like this, where you're seeing where the date, where you brought it from, how much you paid, and then I really like this. Some people, they just do their spreadsheet, and then they have their little ways to do it. It's a little obviously more inconvenient because you have to go through all of them. But then the calculators are getting better and better and better. So now it's just a matter of like, do you want to count this? Do you want to count the rewards? Do you want to count the gas fees as cost, or do you want to do it as a loss? Do you want it? So it's just a matter of like what you decide on the software, and then it's just it gives you everything. They're getting really really good, but we're in like I think a small window where I need more people to learn about this so that way they can do their own DIY taxes and make this a little bit more affordable. Because if not, I mean, I have no problem. I mean, I could just keep like charging whatever and then that's okay. But then the problem is that I think that we have the ability, and we don't need to make this, thousands of dollars to pay my taxes to someone to do this, because most of the people that are trying to do their own taxes is someone that maybe they're in crypto for a couple $1,000s. So if you're only doing this for just doing your little DCA, 50, 20, $100 a month, which is awesome. That's great. It's going to change your life in a couple of months or a couple of years. But then if all of a sudden now you have to pay someone else $2,000, $1,000, I mean, Coinly charges you $2,000 just to look at your information. And it's not for a tax pro, it's not a CPA, it's not an EA, it's not basically anyone. It's just some customer service person that's telling you, all right, this is what you need to click, click, click. But then at the end, you're not really getting that information. And right now, I'm doing tax reports maybe around $500. And I mean, and I'm doing everything. I'll be able to do, like Lindsay was saying, all that information that's empty. I'm able to track it for you, and I'm able to tell you, all right, you brought it from US Bank, you sent it to Coinbase, you sent it to DeFi, and now you got all this T shares. Those softwares, they're not doing that right now. They like that. They like it where they can track a lot of stuff, but at the same time they need you to do the extra work, or then you need to pay them. And then that's the sad part, because after you pay them, you still have to pay your CPA probably another however much to complete the return, because once you get the Schedule D and the 8949, that's just part of the puzzle. So not trying to overcomplicate things, but
Well, it is. I mean, I'm glad to hear you're going through them and you're touching light on these things because they are important. And like you said, like even just knowing the terminology will give you that confidence to really ask your CPA those questions too. Because a lot of people have a CPA, they've been working with them for years, they're really comfortable, they trust them with their finances. But a lot of these CPAs were not even allowed to talk about crypto, like what forever. And now all of a sudden they're the ones that we're trusting that are handling our information. So we've learned so much in a true DeFi ecosystem, right? We've learned so much about how it is important to self-custody things. And this is one of the things that's super important to self-custody your own information. Like you said, they're harvesting data like crazy. And for as long as they can get away with it on Web 2, they will. So don't give them any more than, don't feed a hungry bear. let them forage and hibernate, right?
true.
Yeah. Sorry. I get like entering into these things. The coin token tracker that I put together, like you were saying, it start from your bank. That's the first coin that you're going to track is from your bank all the way to the first purchase, where it is, the date you sold it, the date you purchased it, price paid, price sold. I know it seems like a lot, but this was painstakingly put together so that you could set yourself up for success.
That's
We want to
awesome.
be around for more than 15 years, right? We're not just here like 15 years and then we're done. We're like, no, we're multiple generations will be around for 15 years. So let's start them the right way so that they're not completely, that's the whole point of DeFi, right? Is to get it out of the hands of middlemen and to be able to custody it yourself. Like this is how you play the game.
Great point. And to add to that, the more detailed you're in your tracking, the less work you're giving to someone like me to find the activity, and then the less work you would be given to your CPA if they're the ones doing the full return, including the 8949. So you have to remember, the more info that you have, that's less minutes, less hours, and less charges that you're going to receive. So it's like I said, it is inconvenient because we're all like, oh yeah, I just want in. But the reality is that if you miss one of those steps and you do have an incomplete CSV or an incomplete 1099, then you miss one of the steps. And I mean, I know it's not impossible, because let's say that you don't fill the bank portion, and then you are missing that activity from maybe Coinbase. So then the only activity that you're showing is the 9850 in Ethereum that you receive from those first two. So then you would be, I know it's that one. It's not that important. It's only like $1.50 missing. You'll be okay with that one. But you know, 10, 20, 30 of this ones, then it's $40 or it's $50, and then it starts changing. Then obviously, and you do it 5, 6 years in a row, then it's, and then so that's something that and again, that's not the biggest part. The part that I think is most important is that the more details that you put, the less information that you have to search later, because then if not, you would have to go and then look at the CSV file in Coinbase. Then you have to be like, all right, well, I made this transaction when, oh wow, the CSV file is just like, you know what I mean, like literally, like the only way it divides them on Coinbase, it's like it gives you a ton of Bitcoin transactions, then a ton of Ethereum transactions, then a ton of whatever other else transactions. But if you don't know where you got them, you don't even know what you're looking for. And then you had to be like, all right, well, it looks like I paid $100 on this day. All right, let me go now to my bank statement to look at the transaction on that day. So it's just it can get complicated. And then if someone else is doing that for you, they're just gonna be like, all right, buddy, you know, it was 40 hours of work. You pay me $50 an hour. So that's
Great
what you.
business for you. And I know that you want to stay in business for a long time, but like you had said, you know, you want to stay in business for a long time, but the point is to be able to get people confident enough where they're getting the
Yes,
stuff together before they're coming to you so that you can just put the icing on the cake and help them get to the best place possible so that they're,
exactly.
you know, it's things are unavoidable, death and taxes, right? Here we are, this is the season and these things aren't going away. And you know, the chokehold that will be going around the neck of DeFi, we just have to be prepared. So okay. So cost-based analysis, that was another term that you said was super important. Let's talk about that for a minute, shall we?
Good deal. So on that one, you want to talk more about like if you're filing HIFO, FIFO, or searching, or what specific about cost base should we talk
Okay, so if you're entering into crypto into the first
about?
time, and now what can you just tell us what cost base is? We'll start there.
Oh, okay. So like starting brand new, you wanna make sure that you know what are you paying. You know, like you want to make sure that if you're bringing in $100 or if you're selling 200, that $100 that you're going to be paying in taxes is accurate. Because, like I said, for if it's $100 transaction, it might not matter that much. But then all of a sudden, if you're missing cost basis on bigger transactions, that could turn into a problem. Uh, yeah, so that's what I've seen a lot of people. They have to decide: do I want to do the last in first out? Do I want to do the highest in first out? Do I want to do the first in first out? Because it changes. You know, it's going to be depending on how, you know, where was your cost basis, where you decide to pick it. That's how much it's going to change. If it's bigger transactions, maybe like $100,000 and more, then maybe the difference could be $3, $4,000. So I guess that's when it kind of starts changing. But I think it's more like people need to know what it means, so that way they're like looking for it. They need to know if it's accurate, if it's not, and then how to change it, of course, in their software depending on their area or their jurisdiction.
Yeah, absolutely. That's we're an international stream here, so and we're coming from all different areas of the world, and so it's important to know to make sure that you're being compliant with your own, you know, within your county, your state,
Yeah.
your all that jazz. And you know, we're here in New York. It's a different beast up here, that's for sure. And learning the loopholes through business taxes and crypto taxes. So, do you work a lot with businesses with and taxes and crypto right now?
Mostly small business, so LLCs, people that register their own business, and they're doing the crypto tax. Well, they're doing the tax. Uh, Sorry, not the tax. The crypto. They're doing the crypto game through the business.
Mhm.
and that way they have a little more options, I guess, is the way to see it. A little bit more deductions and just a
Okay.
little bit more play. Mhm.
Okay, we'll do. Can we do a business and crypto taxes stream too?
Yeah, of course. Let's do it. Of course,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Because I really, I don't know. I came across something
Mhm.
in the research over whatever it was. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, Wyoming is
Oh yeah.
recognizing DAOs as LLCs. I thought that was interesting.
That's new, I think. They've been trying. I think they have like a congressman called Tyler or something. I'm not sure. I don't remember his name right now. I don't even know he's there still. But they did a few things really, really good for a little bit, and then now the lady that I've seen, I think her name is Senator Loomis.
Hmm.
Some of her proposals are just not that good. A lot of people are focusing on the things outside of taxes because she made a proposal. It's so complex that it has like six different areas, and then each area is different except the tax portion. So it's almost like I know that at least the people that I talked to, they were like, "Oh, this is all the same. They should approve this because it's all the same. It's just giving clarification." But no, it's very different. The tax portion is the same. So obviously the tax portion can change in later years, but I think they did that on purpose, meaning leaving the tax portion similar so that everyone else would just kind of agree to everything else, but then they would implement some type of digital FinCEN that would regulate crypto. They would implement that the banks could use stable coins for payments, which obviously that can turn into a stable coin. I'm sorry, into a CBDC. Which the other day I saw a congressman approve something that said that they're not going to create CBDCs, but then it doesn't matter because they're just going to call it something else. So I mean, I know that everybody was all excited and everything, but it's just a name. You know what I mean? It's just a name. So if you pass a law that says you cannot approve a CBDC, but then the bank said, okay, cool, but we're going to approve that banks could do stablecoin interaction at zero reserve with so it's not even fractional reserve, it's like zero reserve requirement. And then what else can they do? Obviously they can control it, they can print as many of them as they want, they can censor them, and then they can ban them if they want to. They can, so it's almost like it really doesn't matter that someone's going to pass a law that says no CBDCs because it's the tools, is how they use them. So if they actually approve that the banks can use stable coins, then it's all the same. So
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. That's something to pay attention to the marketing that's going on. The marketing, man, if you're not paying attention, you could sleep on that one. Stable
mm,
coins. I mean, what are they going to change the names to? But I don't know. And sorry, this is probably sideways a little bit, but
mm.
you said they're calling it enterprise grade staking versus retail staking. That's
I
something
have not heard about that. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I've been going down the ETH hole a little bit. So, like, as we were talking about DAOs and everything, I got like a little salty. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Hold on. Wait, you're going to use these hackers for good now? Okay. Anyway, different topic. But in enterprise grade staking versus retail staking, now and they're so far behind on everything to do with taxes as it is. Like, they're pretty much saying, like, we have no idea how to regulate this right now, but these are the things that we're pretty please asking you to do. And so it will catch up, right? It'll take them a few years, but as long as we're compliant.
No, it'll take another 10 months and 3 days. It's just they have approved a law that says any. So it's just that's why I keep saying when they say any, it means they don't care. It means that now everyone's going to have to report on their own. And if you're on DeFi, you're going to have to keep track, like you guys were saying, because if not, then you're going to receive incomplete returns. They're going to have incomplete 1099Bs. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen after January 1st, but I'm very excited to see because they're going to have to amend that law. It's that simple. Like they're going to have to amend the law to say that they're not going to go after DeFi stakers and validators and developers.
I
They're
mean,
just. Mhm.
I would love to see an amendment to that law, but after the shenanigans that we just saw over the past couple of days, I don't know. I think that was pretty much on the world stage saying like, look what we're going to do and there's nothing you can do about it. So
I mean, it ended up being like that. It ended up being that way. It's almost like for a couple of weeks they were saying that I forgot the name of the gentleman that approved the original bill, but then he kept saying that. He kept saying, "Oh, that it's not my intention. It's not my intention to go after DeFi stakers and this and that and the other." And but then the law was approved that way, and now it just says any digital asset is a property that it's a security. So I know a lot of people are just not paying attention or not listening, but it's just it doesn't matter anymore. It's approved. So I know a lot of people they give me flack for this for saying this. I'm like, I'm just warning you so that in 10 months you're not surprised and then it just doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks because I know you mentioned you're in New York, but the people that were in New York in 2012 and 2013, they left by 2015. And I'm talking about some of them like let's say Eric Voorhees and some of the guys that they were doing kind of like exchanges without KYC. They were they basically just told them, well, either now or either change or not. And then at first he left, but then he still did the KYC later. So it's one of those. It's just if you want to play by the rules, then sadly the middlemen that we hate, and I know I'm one. I used to work for a bank, so I don't like that. That's why I left. But they agree to the rules. And then since we, as quote unquote cypherpunks, we for the last 3-5 years, we haven't been like focusing on, all right, we need to make sure that people are doing their own validation. They're running their own nodes. They can manage crypto as it was intended to be peer to peer, and that's the problem that I see. It's just, well, now everyone tells me like, oh, we're going to be okay. And I'm like, well, am I going to be okay? Because if I don't offer him through my bank, well, I don't get to drink my coffee and I don't get to pay my rent and I don't get to pay my car and I don't get to. So that's the only issue that I see, that a lot of people just tell me that they're like, oh, taxation is theft and all this shit. But they're like, who's accepting the thing? Who's accepting the thing? And it's that simple. So you're going to have a big old bag of tulips, papers. So it's just like that's how it is. You want to make sure that it's accepted, and I guess that's the issue that I'm seeing. That right now the states are making it in a way where they're gonna push DeFi away of the U.S. if they don't fix this.
what are your thoughts on that, Serena?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Taxes suck. So,
Yeah, no, it's like, well, with that, they will drive innovation out of the United States when they make it so difficult. I mean, look at what happens in New York State. It's extremely difficult to set up, start, and maintain a business if you grow outside of a small business in New York State. Once you reach that bracket, you just start getting crushed. So, well, so far, that's been my experience. But that's why I'm super excited to talk business taxes with you sometime so that we can start. If you know how to play the game, then you're playing fairly. And if you don't know how to play the game, the other side is not going to play fair. They will take advantage of that all day long. So if you ever felt like you didn't really know what was going on with the game, that was a really good place to start. I mean, they will either crush DeFi and I'll have to move to where DeFi is allowed, or I mean, that sounds a little extreme, I guess. But anyway.
No, they'll have to. That's a great point. They're going to have to deal with us. They're going to have to figure out a way to accommodate us because we were in DeFi before they passed this dumb law. So it's that simple. I don't know if I'm going to have to fight them all the way to the Supreme Court so I can, be my little degen on DeFi or something. But I'm not going to just, sit on my hands and do nothing. So
No, I mean, actively, honestly, like you said, do not sit on your hands. You do nothing. Actively prepare so that when the law comes, you're not like, what just happened?
Yeah.
You've seen it coming since 2014. These things that have been coming down the pipeline using they're using current guidance, right? And they're looking at staking like mining, considering an income tax, and then there's capital gains tax on top of that, different brackets. It's really important that you know where you stand so that you can make an appropriate game plan going forward. The game is to
Mhm.
participate, and there are so many, like, there's really good strategies out there. I get really excited thinking about that because not many people know the opportunities that are
Mhm.
available to them. So do you have anything, if there's any late filers out there, are there any, pro tips, some gems, some jewels that you can give them, some savvy advice, maybe not financial advice, because we don't do that here, right? We just do entertainment, education, numbers, logic, facts, etc. But you have anything you'd like to drop on them?
Yeah, of course. So when we said earlier to learn about the basics, learn also what affects your liability, right? So, for example, if you're in a place like the States where you're going to pay so much more by swapping anything under 365 days, then maybe learn that extra day. So maybe there's people, I see it all the time, where they do a swap on day 355, and then you're like, oh no, you could have waited an extra 10 days, maybe swap some other asset, and then that would have saved you this much. And then of course, if it's $10, then it might not be that much of a difference. But if you're selling 10,000, 5,000, if you're selling $1 million, and then all of a sudden the difference is 4 or 5%, because you didn't know that that difference. What we were talking about earlier, the keeping track, that's a good one. Another one that's good, it's learning about tax loss harvesting. So a lot of people in the States, they don't know that one and they don't apply it, but crypto doesn't have a wash sale rule yet. I keep saying yet because like every year since 2014, they would keep telling me yet. And so I always tell everyone, use it until you can't. Okay, because what you mentioned about business tax, that's awesome. We're gonna have a great talk on that one, because you're going to be able to learn the rules. You're going to be able to know how much you can deduct or what credits you can take or this, that, the other, and always use it to your advantage. Because a lot of people use or think taxes in a bad way. Me personally, I look at them as a incentive. I try to look at all the rules. I mean, I used to play baseball, so I was always anticipating. The way I do is just like I had tried to anticipate my moves, and then if I say, all right, well, if I do this move, I can save 3% in taxes. Might not look like much, but then again, if it's on $10,000, then it might be a lot. You save that couple bucks. So something like that.
Oh my gosh, that gets me so excited. That makes me never want to jump off stream. But I feel like I can't hold you forever, even though like you're giving us so much good stuff tonight. Serena, is there anything you wanted to ask or anything else?
Yeah, actually, I was wondering about
Mhm.
people who think of moving to other countries for tax
Ooh,
reasons and what your thoughts are on that, because I've heard places like Portugal and Dubai are supposed to be really good. So,
awesome. Awesome question. So for quote unquote tax havens, for anyone that's in the States, call me biased. I'm from Puerto Rico. I was born and raised. I always tell everyone go to Puerto Rico, because the way it's going to be is you're still in the US dollar. You're 3 hours away from anywhere, maybe 5 hours from New York, 3 hours in Florida, here and there. So I say Puerto Rico because the reason it's an actual agreement. A lot of people don't know this, but you're not just moving to a place and hoping that in 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, they're going to change the law on you. This is an agreement that you do with the Department of the Treasury, and it's an agreement for 15 years. So I mean, maybe they're into T-shirts or something. But all I'm saying is, if you do it the right way, they give you 15 years. At the end of 15 years, they do a small audit, and then if you did everything right, so you did your donations, because there's donations to charity up to $10,000. It's not as simple as just, yeah, jump on a plane and show up in the island. But then there is all these benefits. Other places like you mentioned, Portugal, if you like Europe, Portugal right now is at 0%. I keep hearing rumors that they're going to change that. So I don't know what's going to be the story in 2 3 years. So that's the problem of like moving to a place where it looks awesome today, but then it's just us Hexicans, we have a way different time frame than everyone else. It's almost like as everyone else is thinking like, oh sure, I made this gains this year and I'm just can flip them here and then I'll just go somewhere else with my gains. And well, on our side, we have to make sure that we're looking at the tax law today, then in 10 years, then in 15 years and 2 months.
Right.
So for me right now, again, call me biased because I'm from Puerto Rico, but I like that situation better because if you're in Act 20 and Act 60, what I think is going to happen is at some point in the next 15 years, the tax law is going to change in Puerto Rico and in the States, obviously. But then we're going to be in a protected bubble because we have already this arrangement with the Treasury. Uh, as far as other places, there's all kinds of places. There's Bermuda, even Germany. If you're thinking of more than 1 year, so if you do the long term gain, then I think it's zero. So there are places still. Hong Kong recently is changing their um, their regulation where now they're going to open back to retail. And I've been for a year now looking at where would the market from the US would escape. And I think it's just going to go directly into Hong Kong and Singapore. It's just going to be like, all right, well, now I can only have this many billions in the US and then the rest of the billions all the way to 2 3 trillion when the market cap goes back up to that in crypto. It'll be everywhere else because like I said the other day, this is not going to affect DeFi. The fact that the US is just going to say, all right, we're going to limit this, that, the other. It doesn't mean that DeFi is going to slow down. It's just going to start popping up everywhere else. It'll pop up in Canada and Mexico and Puerto Rico, Singapore, Hong Kong. But then in the States, the average person is not going to be able to just, here's $250 and now I got 2 million.
And is the Puerto Rico option only for U.S. citizens, right? That they can move
No,
there?
no.
Okay.
For Act 20 and 60, yes, but then they have another one. It's called like Act, I think it's like 50 something. I forgot what it is, like maybe 6, 7.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
down there. Something you might want to consider, Serena. We're a little sick of the snow up here, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys, like I said, once you make sure that this is something that you like, what they want to do is they want to bring in people from outside that want to hire local, but then they want to produce for outside as well. So they want to bring in money from outside and then have people employ the locals. And so far it's been working. It's been going for 10 years now. Originally started in 2012. I think it was Governor Luis Fortuño that started it because obviously there was the whole thing 2008, 2009, and then they were just looking for a boost. Puerto Rico tourism was not doing as well, and they were just trying to get some business in the island, and they've been doing that little by little.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah, if you want to know really where to go to get the most maximum benefits out of your tax, follow the money.
Oh, and that Joe mentioned, that's another thing that you would get away from by being in this treaty. Because since it's a treaty, then you're not going to be paying U.S. taxes. This is the only place in the world that you would be able to do that because you're expat. If you're in the moon, if you're in Alaska or Antarctica, you're going to pay taxes to the U.S. unless you have this type of treaty.
And that's only in Puerto Rico, right?
Well, it is only in Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico doesn't pay. It's a, how do I say this? It's different because Puerto Rico, we don't pay federal income tax, right? That's a lot. Another thing that people don't understand, because of this treaty, you're not going to pay capital gains. You would pay income tax though. But since you're a resident of Puerto Rico and we don't pay federal income tax, then you don't pay it. So that's the thing. So I guess now that you say that and now that Joe mentions this, maybe it does affect other people different because then me, I go back and then it's almost like I'm a local. Like the rules don't actually, if I was resident in the island the last maybe 3 years, 5 years, I wouldn't be able to. So since I've been gone for, that long and I've only go and visit, like the last few days, it was just visiting and then I just come back and then, that's how it works. It's just they have a ton of rules for the thing, but it's I think in my opinion is the best that we have, because what Joe said, because if you're in the States, you're going to go somewhere else, and unless you renounce citizenship, then you're still going to have to pay the tax, man. So that's why I see Puerto Rico as such a great option, because you're going to Puerto Rico, it's still part of the US. You don't even need a passport, so you can just travel there with your driver's license. And not in your case, Serena, because anyone from outside, it's the same as traveling to the US. But
Right.
then if you're a part of the US, then you just do the agreement with the in Puerto Rico it's called el Banco de Desarrollo Económico, and they do that treaty, and then that's it. So it's a good option.
Cool.
I love having options.
Yeah.
Not bad either. All right. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
I think we covered everything we wanted to ask, I believe.
Probably not. I probably have 80 million more questions, because honestly, like I keep saying, but knowing how to play the game is so valuable. So thank you so much for your time and your knowledge, and thank you for your passion for teaching. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I just when I started in crypto, none of this information would be available. Not even if you would pay someone, so you had to like pay someone, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I've been in crypto for like 2 weeks." You're like, "Okay, well, you haven't seen anything that I'm needing to see." So now I'm trying to focus on that, trying to focus on the little things that I think everyone just misses, and it's regulation, taxation, because I see it all the time. I see it, people make a lot of money, and then they have to pay a CPA $2,000, $3,000 to do all this because they just didn't keep a little ledger. And then you're like, well, was it worth it? You're missing on this money. So that's the new thing for me. I'm just trying to focus that I'm selling a little course. It's like $300, but I tell them if you monetize it, you can make this into your business. You can, prepare your own tax returns. Crypto Tax Pros, you don't need an office, so no brick and mortar, nothing. I mean, just go to LegalZoom, register LLC, and a couple $100 later, you might be able to start working and just monetize this thing. Because right now, I only see maybe 25 of the big companies doing this type of service, where they can take you from doing the research, finding the transactions that are missed, completing maybe the 1099Bs and the forms that are incomplete, and fixing that with the IRS, and then also file for you. Because I remember when I used to work at H&R Block since 2014, I'm like, guys, let's hit this. It's going to be like a new, we're going to bring all this new business. Never. All the way till 2019, the last time I worked for them, they were like, we're still making billions of dollars. Why do we need to make any changes? And I'm like trying to tell them, I was like, yes, guys, but you're thinking 1956 when you guys started. I'm thinking 2056. So that's, but yeah, now I'm just going to take their business, eat their lunch.
Honestly, take their lunch money. Take their lunch money. You don't even have to run that far. We'll paddle the boat for you. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
All right. So tell us where we can find you and your course, please.
Yes. So you guys can find me at Identity Block everywhere. So on Twitter, Telegram, and on YouTube. And if you're interested, then you can reach me at identityblocked at proton.me. And that way, just let me know when I'll guide you on how to do the course. I made like 10 videos, very short, maybe 15 minutes, but then covering all the basics. And that way, covering from chain analysis to do the cost basis, fair market value, capital gains, capital loss, and then just even did a small glossary of tax terms. So that way you can learn that. And like I said, if someone's interested in going the next step, I'll guide you. I'll help you get your PTIN and everything. That way, get your business and get this thing out there. Because I fear that if not more people are doing this and doing their own taxes, then H&R Block and PwC and KPMG, they're just going to be like, all right, well, give us all your money because we're going to charge you as much as we can to prepare the crypto taxes.
Yeah. John May might take this up. John May, that honestly, that small investment into it truly is a small investment into preserve, oh my gosh, I can't talk today. I get so excited about preserving your wealth. Like that,
Exactly.
investing into that
Bingo.
knowledge, you're going to preserve your wealth that way. And, honestly, what an amazing opportunity that you are giving someone to not only do that for themselves, but you're offering to walk them through the process of being able to do that for other people in a way that you might never know. You might find yourself a crypto tax guru there. I mean, you might, once you start opening these doors and like you said, when you open up those doors and you realize that there's like
Yeah.
little moves that you can make that make it more strategy and less stress.
Yeah. I mean, like for the last, I want to say for the last 4 years, that's all I've been doing. I was very lucky because 2018 was when I started I said, I'm done with H&R Block. I'm just here as part of, I'm not going to get anywhere. I remember I requested this. At that point, I had been in the company for like almost 10 seasons. And I requested this position for their lead in the training department. And after I had interviewed and everything, and it looked like it was going for me, then they said, no, we're going to go with this new person that's never worked here. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, all right, well, okay, cool. And then what I started doing was, I remember in 2018, 2019, the CP 2000 letters started coming out. And they were just, I call them the clickbait letters or the bait letters, because there's this letters that they just have very generic language. It just says like, hey buddy, like it looks, someone told us that you might be messing with crypto, but we don't see no crypto in your return. What's going on? And most of those start coming out because there was a case against not Robinhood, Coinbase. And then that information of the 1099 start coming out because there was people that were not, Coinbase used to have way different thresholds before. There were like 20,600 in Massachusetts, 1,200 in Missouri, and everyone else that was receiving those 1099s, they just weren't reporting. So I just got in contact with someone that was doing information on the CP2000, and her name is Orlo Kai from out of Poland, and that's how she got me in touch with Gidi. So uh, I started working with that group, and then he's the former deputy director of the Israeli Tax Authority. And then I don't know, he took a liking on me or something. I have no idea, but maybe he thought I was some weirdo like asking about taxes. But somehow we clicked, and then he gave me that opportunity. So I'll forever be grateful to him, because all of a sudden I was doing like tax workshops for Spain and Portugal. So it was like their actual tax authorities. So I met like their directors and everything. It was awesome.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
He heard you say, I'm thinking in terms of 2036, or, I'm thinking of 2056. I'm not thinking about 2019.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
oh man, they're smart scooping you up. Awesome. Get your butts over there. Take that course. What do you got to lose? Besides thousands of dollars on your own, like trusting a third party to do your taxes. Just saying. Anyway. So.
Can you post the email or link in the chat for people to
of course.
contact you?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay. I'm going to send you over the coin token tracker too, so that you guys can take a look and download this page. It's on our website, but you can download the page, and then you can make as many copies for as many degenerate moves as you have made, and then start fresh in 2023. Fresh-ish. You're going to have some back work to do, if you're active since January. But what a great way to bring in tax season. This actually made taxes sound fun to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Oh, I can't wait till the next one. The next one we will be back. Part 2 will be business taxes. So after you take the course, you can learn how to do all that and join us in chat, ask many questions, share many thoughts. That's what we're here for. But thank you so much. Make sure you please check out Identity Block. Follow him on Twitter. Take his course. Follow Serena Alonzi on Twitter. Follow her on YouTube. Us too here at Fiber Livestream. Rising tide floats all boat. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight on Hex News and Updates. We didn't update any Hex other than just to say that it's day 1,182 of flawless uptick time.
There you go.
We still get to keep rolling, saying that Hex's price is sitting around, 5 cents here? Our t-shirt
Mhm.
stickers, we're still looking good. We're still averaging around 6 years. So I think the future's looking bright, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for all being here. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell button all. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a brand new Ledger Nano X so that you can
Ooh,
custody
nice.
your crypto safely. This is not the one. The one that you will be receiving is brand new from the manufacturer, never a third party, not opened. It's all you. Anyway. All right, guys. You have a fantastic evening. We will see you later. Bye. If I can find my mouse, it's dancing on my screen up there. My outros are always so fun. Bye.